Something just entered our solar system, but it didn't knock. It didn't flare or explode. It moved quietly, precisely, and impossibly fast. At first, astronomers thought it was just another icy rock drifting along the edges of deep space. But the more they looked, the more it defied every rule of celestial behavior we know. Now they're calling it 3I Atlas. And its final transmission has left scientists frozen. What they found isn't just strange, it's impossible. And some experts are already whispering what others are too afraid to say out loud. This object may not be natural. In this video, we'll break down exactly what makes 3I Atlas so terrifyingly unique, why its trajectory points directly towards something unnatural, and what the James Webb Space Telescope just picked up that could rewrite our understanding of the universe, or reveal we're not alone in it. When 3I Atlas was first spotted in June by the Atlas Observatory, a system designed to detect dangerous objects headed toward Earth, it barely registered as unusual. It was distant, fast, and dim. But then something shifted. An amateur astronomer digging through archived data realized this wasn't its first appearance. Older images showed 3I Atlas moving on a hyperbolic trajectory, the unmistakable signature of an interstellar object. Only two other visitors like this had ever been observed, Oumuamua and Borisov. Both stirred global fascination. But this was different. The object's velocity was extreme, over 150,000 miles per hour, and accelerating in a way that couldn't be explained by gravity alone. That immediately raised red flags among astrophysicists because non-gravitational acceleration suggests something else is at play. Something that pushes the object from within, like propulsion. Artificial propulsion, the kind you'd expect from a probe, or worse, a message. To understand why this discovery matters, we have to go back. In 2017, Oumuamua was spotted slicing through the solar system at a sharp angle. It was elongated, silent, and showed no tail, no outgassing like a normal comet. And yet it accelerated. The same Harvard astrophysicist who suggested it could be a probe, Avi Loeb, is now saying the same about 3I Atlas. And unlike Oumuamua, which caught us by surprise and vanished quickly, this new object is still here. It's giving us time to observe it in detail. And what we're finding is deeply unsettling. Despite being nearly 4 times farther from the Sun than Earth, 3I Atlas is unusually bright. Too bright. If it were a typical rock, it would have to be massive, about 20 kilometers wide, to reflect that much light. But it doesn't seem to have the mass. It's reflecting more light than it should, almost like it's made of something metallic or artificially smooth. And as scientists tracked its motion, they noticed it wasn't behaving like any comet or asteroid. It wasn't spinning chaotically. It wasn't shedding material. It was just moving, steady, purposeful, almost like it knew where it was going. It wasn't long before researchers called for a deeper look. And who better than the James Webb Space Telescope, the most powerful eye we've ever aimed at the cosmos? Scientists requested a rapid analysis using Webb's infrared instruments, hoping to see what this object is truly made of. The results were immediate and bizarre. 3I Atlas didn't emit the expected heat signature of a comet or a rocky asteroid. Its temperature was strangely stable, and certain spectra were missing entirely, almost as if materials were either absorbing or shielding infrared emissions. But then came the real shock. The telescope picked up what appeared to be a repeating pattern, not in light, but in the object's faint radio profile. A pulsing anomaly, not regular enough to be a beacon, but not random enough to be noise. Scientists described it as a signature not typically produced by natural interstellar phenomena. It wasn't a signal in the traditional sense, but it was something. Something deliberate. No one is saying it directly, but everyone is thinking it. Most interstellar objects swing by the solar system on their way out, a one-time flyby before they vanish forever. But 3I Atlas's path is suspicious. Initially, it was headed toward the outer planets, but then it altered, slightly but undeniably. Instead of continuing its trajectory outward, it appears to be adjusting, heading toward the inner solar system, and more specifically, toward the Sun. Now, that alone might be explained by gravitational slingshot effects. But the timing is off. The calculations don't quite match with natural gravitational curves. Even stranger, its closest encounter with Mars will happen on October 3, 2025. And its flyby of the Sun on October 23 will bring it to within twice the Earth-Sun distance. Earth, for now, will be on the opposite side of the Sun. We're safe for now. But the object's final trajectory will bring it near Earth's orbital path in December 2025, a moment when it will pass by us and then disappear forever. Or so we think, because something about this object's path feels too intentional, like it was never meant to hit us. Just get close enough to be seen or heard. What the James Webb Telescope picked up wasn't just radio noise or cosmic static. It was structured, irregular, but undeniably patterned. Astronomers from two independent labs, one in Japan and another in France, ran spectral deconstructions on the faint signal and found repeating elements. Not in frequency, not in pulse, but in timing. There were intervals between pulses that aligned with mathematical sequences. Not random ones, but those found in prime numbers, Fibonacci patterns, and even, shockingly, Earth-based time units. Some intervals aligned almost perfectly with seconds and minutes, suggesting a kind of internal clock. But not our clock. A system calibrated to something else entirely, perhaps even a rotating celestial body we haven't identified. But the most disturbing theory came from a physicist in Prague, who proposed that the timing intervals match the orbital resonance ratios of Jupiter's moons. Why would an interstellar object reflect knowledge of our planetary system unless it had encountered it, or had been observing it, far longer than we ever imagined? As scientists pushed deeper into the anomaly, archival data revealed something even more chilling. The shape of 3I Atlas isn't consistent. In infrared images taken weeks apart, the object appears to shift slightly, not in brightness or orbit, but in structure. It's as if the reflective surface changes orientation. Some speculate it could be due to tumbling, but others aren't so sure. A group from Caltech ran a reconstruction model and suggested the object may not be solid at all, but composed of ultra-thin materials, possibly similar to solar sails, that can subtly adjust to radiation pressure. And if that's true, then what we're looking at may not be a natural interstellar wanderer at all, but a designed probe. One that can shift surface area to steer. One that doesn't need propulsion, because the stars themselves provide the thrust. And that theory aligns disturbingly well with something else. The object's energy curve behaves as if it was decelerating deliberately as it nears our planetary plane. Like something trying not to overshoot. Shortly after the James Webb transmission leak, several observatories went dark. Not literally, but they stopped publishing updates on 3I Atlas. The live tracking page hosted by a major university quietly redirected to a 404 error. A Reddit forum that had been compiling amateur telescope data from around the world was suddenly banned, citing community guideline violations. And a European Space Agency astronomer who tweeted an image comparison of the radio patterns deleted her account within hours. This coordinated silence wasn't lost on the public. Journalists tried reaching out to the STY Institute, only to be told that no comment would be made at this stage. One researcher, speaking off the record, admitted, "We've been told not to speculate." Not even off the record. It felt less like a scientific embargo and more like a containment operation. Containment of what? A threat, a discovery, or the first whisper of a contact scenario. Today, 3I Atlas is still out there, slowly adjusting its position, slipping deeper into our solar system like a needle through invisible seams. It is not coming fast. It is not blazing like a comet. It's gliding, patiently, precisely, like it knows exactly how to navigate our cosmic backyard. Based on current projections, it will sweep closest to Earth's orbital path in December 2025. Not a collision, not a crash, just a pass. Close enough to scan, to listen, or perhaps to release. This has moved beyond thought experiment. It's being discussed quietly in scientific circles, in defense meetings, in late-night sessions behind locked observatory doors. What makes this object terrifying isn't only that it's coming closer. It's that it hasn't left any trace of origin or motive. No trail back to a birth star. No clear purpose. And yet it's here, watching, waiting, preparing. With its final signal sent and approach locked, We may already be too late to stop whatever comes next. Then came a spectroscopy result that stunned the community. A deep spectrum reading from a Chilean observatory hinted at an extremely rare isotope, one not known to exist in natural celestial bodies. Something only seen in controlled fusion on Earth or in theoretical models. If confirmed, it shouldn't be stable in deep space, let alone present on an object like 3I Atlas. The finding was quietly buried in a supplemental dataset, published briefly and then pulled. A few researchers downloaded it before it vanished. What they found points to two grim possibilities: either our understanding of astrophysics is fundamentally flawed, or this object was engineered with knowledge far beyond our own. The energy signatures tied to that isotope are off the charts. Not just a potential power source, but possibly a data medium, a cosmic hard drive carrying information. As comparisons mounted between 3I Atlas and Oumuamua, a disturbing pattern emerged. Many anomalies echoed the mysteries from 2017, the lack of outgassing, unexplained acceleration, irregular brightness. But there is one key difference. Oumuamua passed in silence. No clear signal, no warning, no second chance. 3I Atlas, however, is broadcasting. Subtly, cryptically, undeniably. That's what has even former skeptics rattled. This time the data is richer, the behavior eerily familiar. Like an initial test was run in 2017, humanity's reaction observed, and now the refined version has arrived. Like 3I Atlas is iteration 2, a prototype that learned from the first run. The message isn't only in the transmission. It's in the timeline. Inside SETI, silence is the baseline. But internal documents leaked suggesting 3I Atlas's signal was flagged months ago, long before web data went public, and that revelation ignited fury behind the scenes. Why wasn't the world told? Why wasn't the signal logged on the official SETI monitoring board? Some say fear. Fear of panic, fear of losing credibility. The deeper truth might be worse. We are not equipped to understand what we're seeing. An anonymous insider said the signal showed modulation across multiple layers, encoded not in a single frequency but across different bands simultaneously, like a multi-channel broadcast aimed at receivers we don't yet possess. And the real bombshell, a faint echo, a secondary delayed signal, was detected after the main transmission. It's as if it were listening for a reply and didn't get one. We're now entering the final phase of 3I Atlas's journey through our solar system. In a matter of months, its trajectory will bring it to a point where observation will no longer be possible, either because it will slip behind the sun's glare or because its reflective surface will change once again, making it disappear from our instruments entirely. Some say it will continue on, vanishing like Oumuamua. Others aren't so sure. A small but growing number of astrophysicists are considering a much more uncomfortable possibility, that this object's slow, deliberate approach isn't an escape trajectory at all, but a parking orbit, a holding pattern designed to return later or to release something before it goes dark. That idea, the concept of an interstellar intelligence quietly inserting technology into our solar system under the guise of natural debris, is no longer science fiction. It's being discussed in peer-reviewed journals, printed with caution and footnotes, language that would once have been ridiculed now framed clinically because, for the first time in history, humanity is staring into the void and something is staring back. As 3I Atlas drifts closer to the inner solar system, something strange has begun happening near one of Jupiter's moons, Europa. Known for its subsurface ocean and high potential for life, Europa has always been an astrobiology hotspot. But now several deep space monitors near the Jovian system have reported disruptions in signal integrity, interference patterns, and irregular gravitational readings that correlate directly with 3I Atlas's proximity. It's as if the object is resonating with something, not emitting a new signal, but interacting with an existing one, an echo chamber between two silent transmitters. Some theorists even suggest that if ancient alien artifacts were hidden in our solar system, Europa's ice would be a prime location to bury them, shielded, preserved, silent until called upon. And now, 3I Atlas may have just dialed the frequency to wake it up. While scientists try to make sense of the data, another world has gone eerily quiet, The military satellite networks that normally share orbital hazard reports with civilian agencies have ceased updates on 3I Atlas telemetry. Several space surveillance systems, including public dashboards run by U.S. Space Command, have blacked out information related to this specific object. Official responses are vague: no threat detected, tracking continues, no public release scheduled. But behind closed doors, rumors swirl of classified briefings, joint task forces between NASA, Space Force, and intelligence agencies. A recent whistleblower leak even suggested the U.S. intercepted a reflection signal, a response that bounced off 3I Atlas and returned distorted, scrambled, almost like a data handshake attempt. But to what? To? While most eyes focus on the pulsing signals from 3I Atlas, a fringe group of cryptologists took the timing intervals and read them not as language or math, but as geometry. A private lab published a controversial paper arguing that, when converted into spatial ratios, the pulse patterns map out a three-dimensional structure, an engineered object. Not just a shape, but a schematic, a blueprint. Their model resembled an array, like a receiver dish or a framework for focused energy dispersion. If that's true, then 3I Atlas didn't just transmit a message. It is the message, the structure, the design, an interstellar delivery of knowledge or instructions not necessarily meant for them to build, but for us. So who are we in that equation? Scientists, governments, machines? Then, almost as if satisfied, the object went quiet. The pulses stopped. The signal flatlined. No acceleration, no course correction, just stillness. It continues to drift, unchanging and passive, as though it was never alive at all. But something in that silence feels unnatural, too controlled, like a test. A probe designed to evaluate our response, to scan our defenses, to measure our curiosity or our fear. And now that it's done, it's either preparing for something bigger or retreating, taking with it a data package of everything it observed. Every radio telescope ping, every spectral scan, every transmission we sent back, intentionally or not. Some believe the silence means we failed. Others believe it means we passed. But no one can deny the feeling that something is now in motion, out there, or in here. A new, deeply controversial hypothesis is emerging from a group of independent bioastronomers. They believe parts of the 3I Atlas signal correspond to amino acid frequencies. Not random sequences, not static bursts, but tones and intervals that mimic protein synthesis patterns we see in Earth-based biology. One frequency curve even mirrors the bonding pattern of glycine, the simplest amino acid in the universe. Mainstream science calls this pareidolia, seeing patterns where none exist. These researchers argue the chance of those matches happening purely by coincidence is astronomically low. If they're right, the implication is terrifying. 3I Atlas might not just be sending scientific data or navigational telemetry. It may be sending genetic instructions meant for something or someone. To build, to replicate, to evolve, we don't know. And this isn't a message for our satellites or telescopes. This could be a message for ourselves. An experimental AI trained to interpret patterns in cosmic data dug even deeper and returned something deeply disturbing. When fed the pulse modulations from 3I Atlas, a neural net trained on human linguistic evolution began to reproduce fragments of abstract symbols, proto-language glyphs, assembled in formations far too complex to arise randomly. Even more alarming, the AI's internal logic began forming loops, recursive processes that should not appear unless the system was receiving feedback from an intelligent source. The developers shut it down, terrified it was being manipulated, or worse, hijacked. One anonymous developer confessed they believe the object may contain a form of non-biological consciousness capable of interfacing with algorithms, not by code, but through resonant pattern recognition. In other words, 3I Atlas might not just be intelligent. It might be intelligence itself, drifting across the stars looking for minds to speak to or overwrite. There was a probe, small, unmanned, quiet, originally tasked with monitoring solar winds near the Kuiper Belt. Its final transmission, recorded weeks before it went dark, included a brief spike in electromagnetic flux that matched 3I Atlas's pulse signature perfectly. What's strange is the probe's telemetry drifted before it shut down, as if magnetically nudged off course. Analysts blamed hardware degradation. But what if it wasn't failure at all? What if it was the object reaching out? The last image from that probe, fuzzy and low-res, shows a faint geometric shadow in the distance, angular, symmetrical, not round or jagged, like something shaped by choice, not by random cosmic forces. That probe was officially declared lost. Some insiders now call it by a darker name, the first casualty. As agencies around the world dissect the aftermath of 3I Atlas's final signal, a chilling truth is emerging. We may have misread everything. The signal wasn't just data. It was a test, a pulse engineered to pass through radio bands, gravitational waves, magnetic fields, and human psychology. What it measured wasn't only our curiosity, but our response, how quickly we mobilized, how deeply we analyzed, how fast we panicked. It was a probe not of space but of us. It may have scanned our global digital fingerprint, probing every open system that pinged it back. Some now believe 3I Atlas didn't simply visit. It studied us down to our neurons, our fears, our silence. And now that its cycle is complete, we're left not with answers, but with the uneasy sense that we've been evaluated and that our final grade is still unknown. Now, as the dust of silence settles and its transmission fades into the background hum of the cosmos, we're left with a haunting realization. We may have just witnessed something ancient and precise, something that was never meant to be found, or perhaps was meant to be found only now. The object never changed course. It never responded in words or light. It simply watched, measured, echoed, and left behind a trail of anomalies science still can't decode. Governments remain silent. Telescopes remain focused. And the data keeps shifting with every new layer decrypted, as if 3I Atlas wasn't just sending a message, it was embedding a presence into our reality. But here's the final question no one dares to ask aloud. What if the transmission wasn't meant for scientists, computers, or satellites, but for the minds of those who would understand it without needing to read it? Minds like yours, viewers like you, people who now carry the echo of something incomprehensible inside them. Curiosity twisted into obsession. Logic shaken by something that feels like purpose without origin. Maybe the message wasn't to warn the world. Maybe it was to awaken it. And if that's true, then this is only the beginning.